Hello, and welcome to PB Machine episode 13. Them diet pills, yo. Hello, welcome back to PB Machine. It's been a little while.
It's been a while, hasn't it, Mark?
It has, just over a month.
I've missed you.
I really wish I could say the same.
I don't
What?
know if you got. Did you get those flowers that I sent?
I did.
You know,
I did. The virtual roses.
But did you get the card?
I got the card, yeah.
Because soon those will be real flowers.
But it was a real card.
It was a real card, yeah. It was actually a real card. I might send a virtual one next time.
Maybe send it by a moonpig.
Yeah.
An e-card. An e-card. Nothing
thanks
says.
for diet pills, by the way.
Oh, cheers, bro. You took 5 of them yet?
Yeah, I'm getting shredded. I can feel it.
Can you feel that burn? That fat burn?
I can feel. I'm feeling something burning. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's fat, but feels like my organs. But we'll see.
It feels like your organs, but really it's just fat burning from the inside. Your breath probably starts smelling like ketones, and those diet pills, they're that good. They're dynamite.
Very good. Very good. I like that. That's a little chemistry joke there for anyone who doesn't know. The DNP is actually pretty similar to
the dynamite. It is pretty much the same thing. Anyway, yes, today's episode was an article from the Mail that was published on the 20th of April, so 2 days ago. So we'll just take turns reading through it, and then we'll provide commentary as we go. Shall I begin?
Yeah,
I shall begin. Tragedy of student 21 who died after accidentally taking lethal dose of diet pills she bought on the internet. And let's just do the play-by-play. Ella Parley took the pills on April 12th and began to feel unwell hours later. Her metabolism began to soar, her body overheated, and she died. Her mother has now issued a stark warning about buying diet pills online. Tablets contain highly toxic substance known as dinitrofenol. Do you want to do like a real pronunciation of that, Ben, since you're not retarded?
Dinotrophenol, or DMP.
Dinotrophenol, or DMP. Thanks, Ben. A 20-year-old student died after taking a lethal dose of diet pills she bought online. Her mother has claimed. Surely she's dead.
Yeah, I think maybe it's the causation bit that is the claim as.
It is with it's the Daily Mail. I'm just going by what I've just read. Ilios Pari, known as Ela, burned up from the inside, quotation marks, after swallowing the highly toxic substance known as dinitrofenol. God, DNP, I'm just going to call it DNP from now on. English, why do you fail me? After accidentally taking the lethal dose on April 12th, she began feeling unwell at around lunchtime and drove herself to the Royal Shrewsbury Hospital. Doctors carried out a toxicity test and discovered she was in grave danger and there is no antidote to DMP, which is toxic. Her metabolism began to soar and she started to overheat. Despite doctors desperately trying to stabilize her, she died just 3 hours later. Her mother, Fiona, 51, has now issued a stark warning about diet pills online. In a heart-wrenching statement issued on her behalf by West Mercia Police, she said, Sunday started out cool and clear. By lunchtime, there was a brisk wind blowing in strong gusts that suggested a storm might be coming. Overhead, the skies were bright blue, almost cloudless, and full of promise. I didn't know it at the time, but Ela had bought slimming tablets on the internet. A substance called DMP that is unsuitable for human consumption because of its toxicity. She had taken even more of these slimming tablets than recommended on the pack and had no idea just how dangerous they really were. How many of us ever thought, if one tablet works, surely it won't hurt to take 1 or 2 more? She went on to explain that her daughter had driven herself to the hospital and walked into A&E. As she was completely lucid and seemed to be okay, she thought there was no danger. However, when toxicity report came back, it became clear how dire the situation was. Miss Perry continued, the drug was in her system, and there was no antidote, and she had taken a lethal dose. As Ella deteriorated, the staff in A&E did all they could to stabilise her. As the drug kicked in and started to make her metabolism soar, they attempted to cool her down, but they were fighting an uphill battle. She was literally burning up from within. When she stopped breathing, they put her on a ventilator and carried on fighting to save her. When her heart stopped, they couldn't revive her. She added that her daughter never intended to take her own life. She just didn't understand the danger of taking an overdose of slimming tablets. Miss Perry said, most of us don't believe that a slimming tablet could possibly kill us. DMP is not a miracle slimming pill, it is a deadly toxin. It is similar to TNT in structure. TNT is an explosive. DMP causes your metabolism to run up to an explosive level with potentially fatal consequences. The cause of Miss Perry's death will be confirmed by a coroner at a later date. Do you want to take over from there, Ben?
Yeah, so it continues. Miss Parry of Shrewsbury was in the middle of the Families and Childcare Studies degree at some Welsh university. I think it's Glynworth.
Glynworth.
You pronounce that. I'm going to do a Mark now. This is where I emulate Mark. When she died, and also volunteered for West Mercia Women's Aid and the YMCA. DMP is sold as a way dangerous to human health by doctors, which is probably because it kills people. It's sold mostly over the internet under a number of different names, but contains 2,4-dinotrophenol. It's marketed mainly to bodybuilders as a weight loss aid, as it's thought to dramatically boost metabolism. I mean, it actually does, so there's no thinking there. It actually does that. Manufactured drug is yellow and odorless and was previously used as a herbicide and fungicide. It was launched as a slimming aid in the US in the 1930s, but then banned in 1938 due to the severe side effects. By the way, that's code for people fucking died. Depending on the amount consumed, signs of acute poisoning could include nausea, vomiting, restlessness, flushed skin, sweating, dizziness, headaches, rapid respiration, and irregular heartbeat, possibly leading to coma and death. Her mother said she loved how exciting life could be, how new experiences opened up, thrilling possibilities and a whole world of opportunities to be explored. Such a great sadness that her life ended so soon, and in many ways ended before it really had a chance to begin. There were so many things that she dreamed of doing, travelling, having a career and having a family, things that she never got the chance to experience. She will be greatly missed by everyone who knew her, and it will be all the good memories of her that we will cherish as we go through difficult weeks and months ahead. Police are now investigating where Eloise purchased the pills, which cost around £70 for 100 capsules containing 200 milligrams of DMP. Chief Inspector Jennifer Mattinson said the origin and sale of these pills and are working with partner agencies to establish where they were bought from and how they were advertised. The coroner's report will establish the exact cause of Eloise's death, but we urge the public to be incredibly careful when purchasing medicine or supplements over the internet. Substances from unregistered websites could put your health at risk, and they could be extremely harmful, out of date or fake. An investigation has been carried out to find out where Eloise bought the pills, and we ask anyone with any information that could help us to call 101 to support Eloise's family at this incredibly difficult time, and our thoughts very much remain with them and Eloise's friends. And then, Mark, if you want to continue on from there.
The Food Standards Agency, FSA, has offered the following information concerning the dangers posed by DMP. A spokesman said, we advise the public not to take any tablets or powders containing DMP, sound advice, as it is an industrial chemical and not fit for human consumption. It can be extremely dangerous to human health. Anyone who may have any information which could assist police in their investigation is asked to call 101, quoting reference number 369 of April 12. A spokesperson for said Wales University, where Miss Parry studied, said, Ella commenced the BA Honours Families and Childhood Studies programme at the Wales University in September 2013. She was a motivated group member who contributed enthusiastically to all modules, always championing the promotion of positive well-being for children and young people. Ella was a popular student with staff, peers, across the university and within placement. She always strived to do her best in everything and had great potential both academically and in practice. She will be sadly missed by all of us. Our thoughts and condolences are with her family, friends at this sad time. Ends. So yeah, don't. I think one of the things that I take the most issue with is calling them diet pills.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, unless this product was kind of, I mean, it's difficult to believe that this would be the case, but unless it was marketed as like actually using the word diet or slimming pill, DMP was in it. I just, you know, that's the thing I kind of have an issue with here. Is I would like to know exactly what they were calling it.
Well, even just within the article itself, just referring to the diet pills, almost like kind of downgrades how serious a drug DMP is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you know, I got some diet pills and it's got like green tea extract or something, and you know, it's not. Yeah, you're right. It's minimizing the actual seriousness of a drug, which you know is lethal once you exceed a certain dose. And the reason for that is there's absolutely fuck all the doctors can do for you except put you in an ice bath and hope that you don't die.
Which, unfortunately for Elle's case, wasn't the case.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is as well. I mean, one of the one of the things that I picked out from this article was it said she did exceed the recommended dose, so she took more pills than was recommended on, you know, whatever packaging came with it. Now, with you know, if you were just talking about caffeine and green tea extract, you might be all right, but with DNP, of course, that is potentially fatal. I mean, I did a little quick calculation. I think in mice, the LD50, which is basically the dosage where, you know, you've got 50% chance of dying, is about 450 milligrams per kilo, which translates into roughly 35 milligrams per kilo in humans, if you use the usual scaling factors. So assuming she was about, you know, let's say she weighed 50, 60 kilos, you're looking at still 1,500, you know, to 2,000 milligrams of, you know, roughly of DMP. So you'd still have to take a fair number of pills to kind of, to approach a lethal dose. But then, of course, you know, if you're buying this stuff off the internet, you don't know how accurately it could be that someone's just using a little capping kit in their home and putting the powder in, and you could be getting 50% more than the 200 milligrams that's listed, you know, or you could be getting less. You've got no idea.
I think that's one of the main problems with the supplement industry is that although thankfully most of it's bunk, it doesn't do anything, some stuff's potentially very dangerous for you, such as the DMP, and also people taking pro hormones don't actually realize they're actually taking steroids, as it's just it's advertised as like a muscle building supplement, rather than an unregulated, untested form of testosterone.
Yeah,
which of course, you know, is completely safe.
And yeah, and of course the manufacturers deliberately take compounds which are, you know, a few metabolites away from being the active compound, or they just, you know, they've got some compound which, you know, resembles like you know, they've got some progestin or something which might have some anabolic activity as kind of byproducts, but they don't really know what it is. It's not been studied, so you've got no idea what effect that's having in your body when you take it. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But, you know, the whole thing here is kind of, I mean, should be a warning to people, you know, just when you have a recommended dosage or anything, especially if it's like a underground lab product, like, you should be pretty careful to follow the guidelines, because, you know, they're usually there for a reason based on actual studies or research. I mean, in the case of DMP, I'm not really sure how much research there is in humans. I mean, mainly in mice, but you know, I imagine, you know, the amount of pills she took was probably, I mean, I can imagine the scenario being that maybe she took a couple of pills, didn't feel anything working, so maybe took another one, still nothing, and then she maybe took another one, and then by that point it was kind of too late, you know?
Yeah, it's probably something fairly similar. I mean, I've been taking fat burners from, I took the Hot Rocks from T-Nation way back in the day.
Yeah.
When I was maybe been lifting for about 3-4 years and was trying to cut a bit. And honestly, it's like one of the worst things I've ever taken. I would do my workouts used to consist of supersets for the upper body, and it would take normally about between 40 and 50 minutes, and I would be at the point where I was doing like a dumbbell push pull superset, and I would be like putting the dumbbells down and like panting, breathing for breath. Heart rate would be like racing at 1,000 miles an hour. I felt like I was going to drop down from a heart attack using just those hot rocks, which don't really have anything in them.
Yeah. Got raspberry ketones.
And all kinds of caffeine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, similar experience here. You know, any stimulant-based fat burner, you know, I find is not. I mean, yes, the main benefit of them is that if you're going to do cardio, you load up on stimulants, it just gets you through it. Not really convinced there's a huge benefit in terms of the fat oxidation. Usually it's appetite suppressing, and it just gives you enough mental energy and focus to get through cardio or whatever it is you're doing. But aside from that, it's pretty questionable.
Yeah, I'd say the kind of discomfort that you feel during the training probably negatively outweighs vastly whatever slight positive you get in mental focus using those sort of things.
Yeah,
anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, right now I'd say just coffee, maybe some actual green tea if you want it, but I don't really believe in using fat burners at all.
Unless you require some kind of mental focus or mental edge for what you're doing, like you're doing a heavy lower body workout, or you're in a competitive environment, or you're like lifting competition, game of football, game of rugby, whatever, where you actually need a bit of mental edge or mental focus, or need to be up for it physically and mentally, then in those scenarios I do think stimulants do actually work very well. But in a fat loss sort of scenario, there's no real need for it unless you're going to do a workout that requires that sort of that edge.
Absolutely, and I think people are too keen to throw them in at the start of a diet when, you're just going to burn out a little bit. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to also, if you are using stimulants, going to have to ramp up the dose over time. Especially if it's caffeine. You experience desensitization. So I think if you are going to use them, trail end of a very, I would say, the trail end of an extreme diet where you actually get very, very lean would be the time where you would use that. But even then, you don't necessarily need any assistance.
Not really. It depends, like what sort of you want to come into. If you're preparing for a professional bodybuilding show and you want to throw the kitchen sink at it at the end of your diet to get in contest ready shape, then that scenario perhaps. But if you're just trying to look good in swimwear, it's not really necessary. Then you are like there was another podcast, but there was the study that came out recently that suggested that people who took like creatine or muscle building supplements were more likely or more prone to cancer. I haven't actually looked at the study itself, but like even if it's complete bullshit, there's that risk element in taking these things, because there haven't been things like protein supplementations, creatine haven't been taken on a longitudinal enough basis that we know that, or no one's really looked at them in like a large enough kind of cross-sectional study to show if there is actually any dangers, because there might be. But all we have to go off now is people online or people selling the supplements saying that it's perfectly safe, but there's no real data to suggest otherwise. There is short-term data, obviously, to suggest whether they are efficient, whether they work, but the actual mortality rates of these things, it's not abundantly clear.
Absolutely. And I think just the take-home message is just stay away from any form of supplement that hasn't been thoroughly researched. You can't vouch for the quality and the manufacturing, and it's just not worth. First of all, spending money on it, and second of all, any potential risk. When if you just diet and train sensibly, you'll get the same results, and perhaps not in the time frame that you would like, but that's down to your own lack of planning and preparation more than anything.
Yeah, I just echo that statement. If you are going to buy any supplements, I would highly encourage someone to buy them from a reputable manufacturer. Just whether it's cheaper to get them from this store that you haven't heard of before, even if it was just protein or whatever, it's worth spending just the extra 5-10 quid to go with like an Optimum Nutrition, go with a MyProtein, go with a USN, go with a company that's like, especially companies that are engaged in tested sports, because they're about the only way you're going to get any kind of certification that has been lab tested to any degree.
Well, I think also with MyProtein, if you are an athlete and you are drug tested, they have a range as well, which I believe is I think it's WADA compliant.
Yeah, they do. There's a sticker. I think it's Trust in Sports, the sticker you can look out for, that shows it's gone through a battery testing for banned substances. So like All Nutrition are compliant with that. MyProtein are compliant with that. MSC, who are our sponsors, are compliant with that. Although I wouldn't necessarily buy MSC, but they are our sponsors. But yeah, there are a branch of supplement companies that comply then to Trust in Sport, which test for the WADA banned substances. So something to look out for if you're buying supplements, and you may pay a little bit of a premium for it. But if you're a decent level athlete and you are tested, then it's definitely worth paying the extra.
Yeah.
And even if you just want to know what you're taking, at the end of the day, most of these things are food replacements. So what you're going to be living off, there's not really much point in skipping on it, unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, exactly.
In which case, if you absolutely have
you can't
to.
put.
Is that so?
Yeah, you can't put a price on being banned either.
No.
So.
And if you absolutely can't afford to spend the extra amount on supplements, maybe you should look at whether you can afford to be using supplements or not. Often, I know things like whey protein, it can work out cheaper, but there's certainly a lot of non-essential things you can cut from your supplement regime, and you won't notice a difference if you're like a student or somebody who's maybe not as affluent.
Yeah, and I think just going back to the diet pills as well, just it's sadly, these stories have come about from people who, aren't very well informed about, obviously about supplements, and clearly when the media write about it, they use like terms like diet pills, slimming pills, and of course we've got no idea how it was actually packaged. But it just shows you there's a lack of understanding about the mechanics of dieting, and despite all of the information there is out there about fad diets, people are still hooked into the idea there are magic pills that if you pop them, that's it, you just magically melt away the fat. And I think this just shows that people still need to educate themselves on proper nutrition and understand what these compounds are, and whether or not they're effective. So not that that's probably going to happen. I don't think people are actually going to change, but it just shows that there's, really a great deal of ignorance about, dieting and training, despite, the fact that it's so popular now and it's all over the media.
Yeah, that's true. And I've just skimmed through the comment section. There's absolutely no lulls about it.
No. I was hoping for a few good Daily Mail comments, but no, it's just graveyard.
Yeah, just good old-fashioned, sensible RIPs and all kinds of things. So, I don't really like leaving people on a somber note, but maybe today we're just going to have to. Just the way it is.
It's nice and sunny outside.
It is very sunny outside.
So that's nice.
That is very nice. I may be going out to take some beer pills.
Well, please don't exceed the recommended dose.
I try not to, although I often.
And also don't go under the recommended dose either.
Definitely not. Definitely not. May lead to not having a good time.
Exactly. Severe contraindication there if you're trying to have a good time.
All right, well, I think that'll about conclude this episode of PB Machine. Desperately going to try to get another one out this week and try to get at least one or two out a week going forward. We're going to talk about, hopefully soon, some of the things me and Ben are going to be doing together as regards to like online coaching. And I'm going to be the guinea pig for our first endeavour, which I've already started. More details on that to follow shortly. I've been Mark.
I've been Ben.
Until next time.
Stay away from diet pills.
Yeah, especially diet pills with DMP in them. It's a bad time. You got your lighter up?
What?
You got your lighter up? I know I've got mine.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to burn my PC. Shit, it burns.
Right now, I'm just gonna throw some DMP in the PC now.
It burns.